Check, check.
Good morning, everybody. It's Valentine's Day, the Valentine's Day special. It's us in the flesh with Snoopy in the middle,
Featuring my boy Snoopy.
featuring Snoopy. He's really into Juan, even though he's my dog for some reason. Don't know what that's about. Live from my living room, like always. Juan's mogging me. He's out.
I'm frame hogging,
Yeah,
bro.
he's
Brutal.
frame
You're getting brutally frame hogged right now.
I'm with my bed head, my goddamn sweats. What's up, Papa?
So how's your week been, dude?
It's been all right, dude. It's funny you mentioned that. So I was gonna tell you, but yesterday I was pretty excited to go to the gym because it's Valentine's Day. So it was nighttime. Well, not it was towards the end of the day.
You were excited to go for Valentine's Day.
I'm pretty sure
damn,
people know where
dude.
I'm going for this, but
Yeah.
not excited. But I was more curious to know who's single at the gym.
Peep the scene, of course.
And I'm like, this is gonna be interesting because I know a few regulars there, and
Right.
obviously you want, you want to really get to know who the ins and outs of who's single and who's not. I go, dude, and it's nothing but old men and
Yeah?
regular men. Yeah, and
There's
I'm
no
like,
regulars?
There were no regulars as far as women went, and I was very.
But what time did you go though?
I went at 3:30.
That's I think that's still
like,
yeah.
That's like
Had you
getting
gone
ready.
like let's say 5 or 6?
Yeah, that might
It would have been a better experiment, dude.
But
It would've
even
been
then, like 3:30 is like the time where people. Well, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. It would have been a better, but
right. Yeah, I went around 12, but it was they still had the classes and stuff or whatever.
Right.
So it was this is not what I wanted to do.
That's funny. Yeah, I was bummed. I'm not gonna lie, but whatever. There was one woman there who I was like, wow, she's very pretty. I've never seen her before.
Yeah.
And her boyfriend pops out of nowhere, and I'm like, this is the worst day of my life. And then I left the gym, and I already told you this, but everyone on the sidewalk was a couple holding someone's hand.
Right,
and
yeah.
I was like, this is the worst day of my life.
It'd be like that, dude.
Yeah. It's not the worst day of my life, but it pissed me off, and I was just
The worst day of my life.
But
Exaggerating.
Yeah, but it was just like, what the hell am I doing? I'm over here having to record this stupid fucking podcast. Waking up at Sunday every day, every week, being like, oh, I gotta go to work today.
You should have a login, a fucking little
punching clock.
Yeah, punching clock. The old school ones.
Right.
That's hilarious.
How about you, man? Anything good with you?
This week, man, I just work busy. Went to the Getty yesterday.
Oh,
When
really?
I fucking broke my.
That's where you broke the.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So for those who don't know, Juan's rear windshield got broken.
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of those knew some criminals that got into the street. He's heard about Chris and Juan's Super Serious podcast, and he
was a fan. He left a
Yeah.
love note in the.
He wanted to commit a Juan Lennon, is what they're calling it.
Stupid.
And Juan by the prick of his thumbs got away. Thankfully, now he's here, dude. Oh yeah, so you got it fixed, or?
Yeah, I got it fixed. It was like a Sunday, right? So I was like, there's no way that like anyone's fucking shop is open or whatever. But
Right.
there was like this little ragtag shop by Mission.
Oh,
like,
nice.
downtown LA. So I passed by and I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, my mom was telling me her car got the check engine light on, but they're like, it's
Yeah.
running fine. And I was like, I didn't even know what the hell like was up with it. Apparently, AutoZone doesn't do
Does she have the older?
the CRV.
older one?
Yeah.
Does
Not
it
the
tell
CRV,
her?
the
Does it
Highlander.
tell her like, hey, you need to
Yes.
change your oil? And
Well, it'll do the engine lights and the oil light, but it won't tell her like via the car's computer system.
All right.
Like my Civic, Honda actually. I'm not sure if you might have gotten this too. Civics apparently for the car, the Honda Link app, it's gonna stop notifying you when your maintenance light is on.
Really?
Yeah. That's
Why is that?
like I don't know. They're removing that feature, which is very
No more software updates.
Yeah, consumer detrimental to consumer.
Dude, isn't it crazy? Like, doesn't it feel like you don't really own anything? Like anything digital anymore, you don't own
Yes,
it. Like
dude.
your iPhone. Like, I mean, you
Right.
own the hardware, right? But like, it's totally up to Apple to say your software's fucked. Like, we're not doing this anymore. And it's like, I gotta buy the newest thing. Or like with subscriptions now too.
Dude, it's concerning. I think physical media dying is a very huge
Right,
concern, and I might be a silly comparison, but I feel that way about video games because physical media and video games is a lot of it is just download only.
Right.
And I like the ability to show off my video games. You know, I have my little shelf right there, and like having a showcase of what I'm into. It's almost a reflection of my personality to display with any type of physical media, I guess, what you collect and what you.
And it feels like that's like a general sentiment that's going on, like in the photography community. It's like film is like a huge thing.
Yes,
even though it's like ridiculously expensive. Like right.
That's the excuse for a lot of developers too. That putting on a disc and the hard drive, the software. Putting on the hard drive is expensive and not worth the
or like
cost benefit analysis.
Or like you used to hear like, oh, X person sold X amount of CDs or whatever, or records. Right?
Now it's all streams.
Now it's how many streams, and then it's like then you start to get in the weeds of like what's a stream? Like how do you define a stream? Is it 5 seconds? Like first 5 seconds, or are we talking?
Spotify I think does it by 7 seconds, and even then, streamers don't get compensated as well as they as they should because it's
So then they have to go into like other avenues, like they got to be fucking TikTok stars or whatever.
Precisely, they have
just
to
get by and
acting,
stuff, right?
And that's why we get more of this annoying celebrity culture,
right? No, but honestly, also like thinking about it from the perspective of the artist, it's like now you don't have to be so held down by. In the case of like music artists, like record labels, like I've noticed they've been having a lot less clout and stuff, and like it's more individualized or whatever, which is I think is a good thing.
Yeah, I suppose so. I mean, that's true because you do see less of groups and bands and actual like stuff of the sort, and
you would expect with less record labels like the come up to be more organic,
right?
But I know it's tough to say because I know that like the industry can find ways to like astroturfing, right?
Right. Do you remember when you were young? Were you into MTV?
And what?
Into MTV? Like
MTV?
VH1? Dude, that was the best, dude. I love, bro, there's something about that VH1 logo with the two little dogs. Like, it's like,
I remember they used to have what they would play, music videos like the whole day or whatever.
Right.
And they had a Latino one.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
They did. They had Latin VH1.
Yes,
they had Latin VH1. I remember MTV being just where I would see like Jackass,
right?
I would see a lot of like badly produced scary movies too, like horror movies from MTV. Like,
dude, towards the end, when it started falling off, it was just like Teen Mom, like 16 and pregnant, like
or ridiculous. What was the one with Yo Mama? With Builder.
Bro, they filmed a lot of them here in Lincoln Heights.
Really?
Yeah.
I know they filmed Rob Dyrdek at our high school. Remember? It's Fantasy Factory. Yeah, because his warehouse is really nearby. So they would.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I know he did a stunt at the stairs at their high school, the ones that lead into the lower bungalows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he did a trick. That was cool. I remember. I was like,
I know the Fantasy Factory is somewhere down around there.
Yeah, the giant ass skateboard. It's by the Arts District. I'm pretty sure. I'm not even sure if it's still around. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, I'm not even sure if it's still around because COVID ruined everything.
But it's crazy how he took off with ridiculousness, bro. Just a compilation of videos, bro.
That's funny. Dude, that kind of culture doesn't exist anymore. Huh?
Nah, I don't think so.
It's just pure slop and
like. I mean, like I feel like it's kind of we've said it a lot. It's like it's been gamified to a point where like it doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
And now
I remember when I would watch MTV when I was young. I felt like I would only watch because I was being babysitted by this teenager. My mom would put me in this babysitter that was a neighbor, and she would like just put on MTV, and she didn't care that I was there, and they were obviously like having sex, like probably why I'm the way today, because there's like 16 and pregnant and Teen Mom and stuff. I remember when I was young, I would be so scared of the horror movies that they made.
Yeah,
and they were like looking back in retrospect,
they were
what
garbage,
the fuck was that? These are terrible. And I remember like having to peek through my eyes and being all terrified at the fact that this was happening, and so. Like,
I mean, I remember tuning into MTV just because I wanted to be like cool. Like,
right? I remember when the MTV Music Awards were the biggest thing on the planet there, and that's when all the drama happened. I remember when Britney Spears was when they marketed her as being a little bit crazy, and that was a huge thing on MTV.
The last thing I remember was when I think Justin Bieber performed like "Baby" or something.
Oh yeah, at the Staples Center.
Yeah, people went crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And it's crazy because he just performed. Now,
dude, I remember.
Crazy how much he's changed, dude. Like,
yeah, he has changed a lot.
Yeah,
I still don't. I'm not the biggest fan of him. I think he makes good music.
He makes good music.
Yeah, I think he makes good music.
It's not my cup of tea, but I feel like you gotta respect.
I respect it. Right?
He does good music. Yeah, he's a real artist.
Right. It's funny looking back and being young at that age because there's a lot of
It feels nostalgic.
Right.
Like,
There is nostalgia, but I also back then I would tell myself I hate my life. I really hated being young and poor.
or like now you look back at it nostalgically, but a lot of it was just inconveniences. Like, like you had a little Game Boy that was like with ink or like the ink. Well, I don't know what it's called, but or like now it's like anything is so much more convenient. You can play like a way better game on your watch.
Right.
And like, right, like
the Nike Run app.
Yeah,
It's my favorite game to play. Dude, I remember when I was young in Gates, which is the name of my elementary school. People are gonna start doxing.
Mine too. Yeah.
Yeah, we went
to the same one.
Once again, funny story. Me and Juan went to the same elementary school. Never knew each other. Never knew each other. And the same time frame, everything. Back then, I was very young, and everyone around me, BlackBerry was the thing back then. Right. Everyone around me was talking about how they have a BlackBerry phone and stuff, and I was like, "Fuck! Like, am I doing something wrong?"
Dude, I remember being at Gates, and I guess I don't know. This was like around the LimeWire age and shit. Right. So this girl was like, "Oh, I got a bunch of cool songs on my phone," and they were just audio recordings of music getting played.
Bro, LimeWire rocked, dude. I remember being scared. You doing it on a computer lab? Remember the Gates computer lab?
Yeah.
Because every other link would be like a virus or it would be a malware. And
like when it had 2 little megabytes, you knew that the audio was gonna be garbage.
Right, dude.
Like I'm not downloading this.
Yeah, it's funny having to learn how to be software engineers at the ripe age of 8, dude.
Right.
But I remember being that age and everyone had a phone. I remember feeling so left behind. And there was this one stupid little girl who was my age, and she's like, "Yeah, for Christmas I got the BlackBerry chocolate and cherry." Remember when BlackBerry did like chocolate theme or candy theme? Yeah. And they're like, "Yeah, I'm living the luxury life," and I'm like, "Fuck!" Like I'm so jealous. And then someone was like, "So where is it?" She's like, "Oh, it's at home because my mom won't let me have it." And I'm like, "Fuck!" Like that's so true. And as a kid, you have like no choice but to leave them. And I'm pretty sure she's just wanting to be pretentious, but I was just very.
You were just jealous.
Yeah, jealous.
And as soon as you heard it, you believed it because you were so jealous.
And I'm like, what the hell? Like, there's nothing I could practically do to get to that status level. I remember coming home and complaining to my mom about it, and she's like, why are you complaining?
Yeah, what am I going to do about it?
Yeah, and it's like, even then, it's like, what the fuck was I going to do with the phone at that
age? Right, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Did you graduate from? I mean, I don't know what they call it, but
I moved in 4th grade to Pasadena.
I moved in 4th grade too.
Yeah, I moved in 4th grade to Pasadena, and
I went to White Memorial or Adventist Christian middle school,
academy.
Private. Yeah,
that's so funny.
The education was super bad there, by the way.
Really?
Yes. Yeah. Super bad.
You guys had a mandatory Bible class, didn't you?
Yeah. In the morning, you'd get in. It was like 8 o'clock, right? And like nobody's like, obviously you just woke up and shit. And they have like morning worship, and they want you to like stand up and like do all those. Yeah.
Did you guys do the Pledge of Allegiance?
No. Oh yeah, I think we did actually, but not. I don't think it was a daily thing though.
I know we mentioned this before. How a lot of Americana is integrated into the SDA church. Yeah. Do they touch on that at all when you were in One Memorial?
No, they didn't. But I definitely felt it. Like, going from a public school, which you would think like, well, this is government funded. You would think there's more like per se government propaganda and whatnot. But it felt like the Americana, like white picket fence type of lifestyle was like, we were kids, but it was super like ingrained into us. So, and it makes sense because it's a religion that totally started here in the United States.
That makes sense because even growing up in the Seventh-day Adventist church, there was a lot of white people imagery. Like
right, yeah.
There was a lot of this is the perfect family. This is how you should this is what you should aim to be and who you should look like. And I remember being young and I'm like, that doesn't look like me at all. Like what the fuck am I like? But it makes sense that a lot of people within that religion now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's like, it's probably also a thing in like Mormonism and Jehovah's Witness and whatnot, because it stemmed from the same movement basically.
Right.
So I don't think that's at all that's not at all surprising. But I wanted to bring something up actually.
Yeah, what's up?
We talked about the culture thing and whatnot. And remember the clip we saw earlier?
Which one?
The one on the comedian that's friends with Hassan Piker. His show. Well, she
Adam-
was talking about. She was talking about how you can't calculate the
FK Twix,
culture.
Adam Friedland.
Yes, right.
Shout out Adam Friedland. Shout out the
Friend of
Crumb
the
Boys. Yeah. Nick, stop. We're gonna have you on. And Hassan. You know they call me the Latino Hassan Piker.
The Latino Hassan Piker.
Yeah. Bill.
Not the Latino Destiny, dude.
No, they're not the Latino. Destiny.
Not that.
Not the. They call me Latino Hassan Piker. Glasses. Still lives with
Glasses,
LA,
jacket, shirt, man.
Oh yeah. So as you were saying.
The clip, right? I forgot who the artist
It's
was.
FK Twigs.
FK Twigs, right? She was talking about how you couldn't. I don't know what the original question was, but her thing was like, you can't really know how much I'm impacting culture by the numbers that I'm running up or whatever the streams that I'm having, which is what we were talking about earlier, and I wanted to bring it. That's why I kind of remembered. So she's talking about how you can't try to measure any of that. Like, what do you think about that? Like, is she right? Is she wrong? Is she missing something? Or
okay, I suppose for the most part,
that'd be nice to edit this clip in.
Yeah, I agree with her for Jamie edited that clip. But,
Jamie edited it.
Okay, I agree with her.
Right. Let's
just get that straight. I agree with her because I think art should come from a place of you wanting to do something out of your passion for it, and because you think you're showcasing something that is not only reflective of you, but almost it evokes emotion out of people. Right. And just like this stupid fucking podcast, dude, we only have like 26 audience, like 26.
Yeah, no,
but I love fucking doing it.
But dude, I enjoy like honestly. Sunday morning, I'm like, oh fuck, like I could go to the gym, I could do this, but I'm like,
it's riveting.
I just want to sit down and talk, and
and there's things to talk about, and I think that we have a good engagement. Sorry for leaning over to the laptop. I have to keep checking the fucking time. I keep thinking to myself, the streams be damned. I just like doing this shit. Right? And I'm pretty sure for FK.
And that's I think that's the right way to approach it.
But I think commercial success is also important because some people do want to be the next big pop star, the next big celebrity. Yeah. And you don't really get that just by being dedicated to your craft. And there are people who are personified by that, like David Lynch or even foreign directors like Wong Kar-wai. Or even some music artist, but in FK Twig's case, I don't think she's a mainstream A-list celebrity. This isn't like a diss to her or anything, but she makes great music. I think she does what she does because, like she said, she loves it being a reflection of who she is and the way she puts art forward. And I think that is the ideal way.
That's the ideal, right?
But I don't suppose in a consumer-heavy market. That's the way to survive, right? Yeah, and I don't, and you're like, should be damned if that's what you're looking to do. Yeah, you're fucked. Yeah, that's why this podcast runs on $30.
I agree, like you. I agree with what you said. I think there's consequences of thinking that way that I don't agree with. But to continue to your point, like a perfect example for me is like, where the ideal is for the artist to do art when they feel inspired and they want to do their art and whatnot. But like, I feel like there's a lot of examples where like the consumer / this like a capitalist structure could push some artists to do more stuff and like for example Frank Ocean like that's Frank Ocean like if he had more of market forces around him pushing him towards releasing more music, it would benefit consumers. I don't know if it would benefit him, right? But like, imagine how much more music we'd have and whatnot, right?
And then you run into the issue of the audience becomes too familiar with you, and they become possibly oversaturated with what you're putting forward. And
like, for example, how long has it been since 2016, right? Frank Ocean. I know that as soon as he drops something, I'm gonna be like, what the hell is this? Like, it's gonna be totally different than what I'm expecting him to do.
Not to put him on that level, even though I think he's great. Dude, I felt that way about A$AP Rocky with Don't Be Dumb. I was very disappointed with the album, and I'm just telling myself, like, what the fuck am I, like...
Why did I wait for this
shit? It was decent. It's not groundbreaking, and I think there's such a level to... There's a danger to... Not danger, but there's a consequence to putting that hype forward as well, for it to fall so short that I think you're almost making the audience or your fans feel stupefied for believing or putting that much time and investment into your work. So I think then arguing the opposite, there needs to be some sort of consistency, or at least some sort of ability for fans to recognize when you are and aren't on track to do something, because then you're kind of just wasting the time of even then I don't want to say that artists have a duty to their fans, but
and then also it's like art, so it's like this, it's almost like it's like this fragile like flower thing where it's like we talked about how the ideal should be, but like what if there is forces pushing Frank Ocean to drop, like maybe it's not gonna be what he wants, maybe it's not gonna reflect him, and that's gonna come across in the music and whatnot. So there's like there's definitely two sides of that coin.
And 2 years ago, fucking, he lied at Coachella. He said that an album.
Oh, right.
Never came.
Never came.
Yeah, he didn't even perform Weekend 2. It was so whatever. But I think she's on the money with how art should be produced as far as artists go, because I think artists have the capacity of being able to bring something that evokes or elicits some sort of euphoria within the audience. But I also think that there is danger to waiting too long or to be inconsistent with how you're delivering that, because you then run the risk of losing everyone who's actually been put their time and money into you.
Right. Yeah, and then that's certainly what you meant in the context of her conversation. But when I saw the clip and I heard her say you can't really quantify like stuff, like I started thinking about like social science, basically, like political science, like economics and stuff, and I guess in the political science case, it's like you hear someone say, "Oh, this poll, X% of people think this, or X% of people support single payer or whatever healthcare," and then you start looking at how the question was framed. And then you start thinking, oh, well, obviously, like, this was... And then you start thinking, does any, like, opinion poll fucking matter?
Right.
And then you start getting to the point where you're, like, you can't measure anything. And it's, like... Then you become, like, nihilist.
Yes.
Like, nothing matters. It doesn't... And then in the case of, like, economics, like, GDP is, like, a huge figure. Inflation's a huge figure that everyone uses. I'm sure that's how a lot of people's, like, pay is tied, like, every year, right? Mm-hmm. And like, if you look at the detail of how it's calculated, you can always run into issues where you're like, oh, this is like a judgment call and like whatnot. But at the end of the day, it matters, because obviously it's like, maybe we're not getting it exactly right, but we're painting the picture of what's actually happening.
Sure.
And I mean, I don't know, in the political science section, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to polling and Gallups and just opinionated public opinion, I think the public is so stupid. I think they don't know what they want.
Right, I agree.
I think they don't necessarily believe that what they need is true. Mm-hmm. And I could say that even as a leftist, where a bunch of policies I would want to happen just seem the right way forward, but I can't really measure how whether or not something is what I want because I haven't really seen it in execution. Versus I feel that a lot of average citizens think they want something that has been proven to be redundant or a failure in terms of public policy. And when you go back to those, you find yourself in this constant cycle of Americans being told what they should want. And that's what runs this political, basically this political rig. And it's just a constant back and forth between the Republican and Democratic Party saying that, no, this is exactly what you want. This is what you should, this is what the problem with America is right now. When the issue is we're just being fed constantly the other side's inability to move forward or be progressive on something while they continue to maintain the status quo and not deliver on those promises, because once again, you will have an incentive to vote for them again in the next election. Whereas actual public policy should move forward basically the status quo again of how the United States functions, with whether with it being reflective of what the average American should need in order to have some sort of standard for a social safety net. Americans being measured by that criterion basically. Where are they going to this? Just when you ask Americans to measure that, basically it's kind of redundant because I don't think a lot of them necessarily are exposed to what can be. They're just exposed to what has been. And going back to the entertainment industry, you're kind of exposed to what you're used to and what niche you're into, what kind of preferences you have, what genres you want. And it's difficult to also measure on a general scale because it's so focused as to what certain demographics prefer versus what a general audience or a general populace actually
What do you mean? What do you mean by that? Like a certain demographic? Like a group, like a certain interest group, basically.
Not an interest group, but basically like an age range group. People between 18 to 35, or people who are Christian, people who are so and so.
Like identity.
Right, identity politics again. And I think identity politics are also a huge factor into how the entertainment industry measures their statistics and their quotas and what they need to actually meet in order to be successful. Right. But
yeah. Like as you were kind of saying that, I was thinking about like how a while back I had heard, how like when you hear in the news like, in this month X amount of new jobs were created and whatnot. And I don't know the exact detail, and like anyone can look this up, but like how that number is actually calculated, I wouldn't say it's made up, but it's not reflecting reality. And maybe you can't expect that to happen because it's such a complicated calculation. But it's the same. It's like you're gonna let, and then the thing is that those kinds of things also impact like the stock prices and stuff.
Sure,
it's not reality. Maybe it's all about the public opinion, really. Like,
right.
If I say, well, really, in reality, inflation went down, but I'm going to say it went down by X% less than it actually went down, maybe the hit to the stock market's not as big. Because of people's expectations.
Who's a big fucking problem with doing that? The New York Times.
Really?
I remember during the election, they kept running too close to call polls between Kamala and Trump. And it was always neck and neck. When, dude, she got fucking creamed. Like, she got fucked sideways, up against the wall, hands gripping.
So you think like if they were to publish something like that, it would discourage people, like, oh fuck, we're losing anyways, or
kind of. Well, where I'm going with this is because I recently saw another poll that said a majority of Americans are disappointed with how Donald Trump has been handling his second presidency, particularly those who actually voted for him a second time. And some of the big topics were the economy and immigration. And I was like, I kind of find this a little difficult to believe because I feel like their base wouldn't care. Or because a huge percentage of them aren't even affected by it because they're usually white or middle class. And I saw at the bottom it says poll measurements come from a pool of 1,600 something Trump supporters. How do you aggregate that?
How do you extrapolate?
To represent a large percentage of America. Sure, like as a left-leaning individual, it's nice to see and being like, they're finally.
And then like the obvious question is like, theoretically, if you randomly sampled 1,600 people, you would expect it to reflect what is the actual opinion of the population.
Sure.
But how do you know that you actually randomly sampled something?
Correct. Right. That's exactly
you can't know. And you never actually do that. Like you're always extrapolating numbers from a certain database, and it's easy to imagine how a certain database can tend to have certain type of people.
Sure.
So how do you really know you're randomly sampling?
And then I guess the issue with my position is you then run into a problem of, well, what quantity do you measure? Like, is it 10,000? Would that still probably would not be reflected because you could interview 10,000 people in Nebraska. They're obviously going to feel a certain type of way. About Trump, or even 10,000 people in California. And then you go to swing states, and would that be more representative? Right. But the swing state went towards Trump last night.
Yeah, and then where did you get these people? Did you interview them coming out of a bar?
Exactly.
How did you? Or did you out of a country club?
Right. Did you go out after? If you're, and then the problem with the New York Times is they're specifically going after people who have already voted a certain way, or already are somewhat not savvy, but have some sort of common knowledge as to how the U.S. government works or what the ins and outs of politics. When I see that type of polling and I see that type of shit, I think it's just like liberal slop because they want to be fed this consensus that, oh, people are angry. People also agree with me. No, they don't. I think at the next election is gonna come. We're gonna have fucking President JD Vance because fucking Newsom thinks that the bare minimum is saying Trump bad. Dude, we want to see fucking shit done about this. Like, you look at fucking Gavin Newsom right now.
Yeah.
He's interviewing. He interviewed Charlie Kirk, Ben Shapiro, and people are the DNC and people on Twitter are already saying you have to vote for Newsom in 2028.
Right.
No, you fucking don't. And you know why? Because he doesn't know how to have any pushback. He talks all this shit about abolish ICE, how so and so is bad. And bro, he's always here glazing Ben Shapiro, saying Israel's not committing a genocide. And then when he says that ICE agents are bad, you said that ICE agents are bad, so they all should be executed. He's like, oh yeah, hey, what's going on? Hey,
someone's coming in. We're getting robbed right now?
Nah, he usually does that with anyone. But as I was saying, like, how do you expect someone like Newsom to actually stand up or prosecute anyone who's doing anything bad once he runs for president? He's gonna start kissing ass and start actually catering to these big fucking lobbies. And I think it's stupid that the average person who I think is sensible and thinks what's going on is wrong should be told that the majority of people agree with you, so you should vote a certain way. That's where I think the New York Times is fucking falling short and being complicit in all this.
Though, I mean, the thing with Newsom is that it's basically status quo, right? Like,
yes.
Like, we're going to continue doing the same thing. Mm-hmm. So, the difficulty is, like, you have a right-wing populism right now, and you're matching it up against status quo. And I don't think it's a winning formula, basically.
Okay, but when...
And then one thing that I wanted to say that I do think that is pretty cool that Newsom has done is that he's kind of playing Trump's game in terms of the social media aspect.
I think so too. But I think he's...
No, I know, but that's like auxiliary to what's
I think he's the only
point,
Democrat who has the capacity to have that sort of swagger. The issue is Trump's also funny. He's also charismatic, and he had no prior history of being a failed politician. In the eyes of the public scope, California is a failed state. Living here, it's like fucking okay. And I think he's done a decent job as governor. I think he's a decent politician. But would I want him to be the next fucking president? Hell no. I don't trust him to actually accomplish things or to actually say or go through with saying Republicans will be punished for what they've done to the American people. You have fucking white fucking folks being shot in their fucking face, and he walks back against Ben fucking Shapiro. Are you fucking kidding me? That guy's never run for fucking office. That guy's never held any fucking public position in American politics. All he is a political commentator. Why the fuck would you push back on that? That's your moment to actually say you're wrong and this is why.
Push back on what?
On what Ben Shapiro was saying on his podcast as far as like ICE.
He had him on there, right?
Yeah, he had him on. He was basically catering and caving because I think his idea is if I could see eye to eye with him, his voters will too. Yeah, no, they fucking won't. They absolutely will not. And that's where I was actually going to touch on you saying right-wing populism, because I think a lot of right-wing populism does go hand in hand with left-wing populism. But then I think you just eliminate the subtitles, and you should just run a populist candidate. You need someone who's going to say, I will do the best for Medicare for all. I will do the best for comprehensive immigration reform, for public free child care. I would do the best for public infrastructure in America. These are topics that every American will fucking agree on. And a lot of right-wingers think AI is bad. A lot of left-wingers think AI is bad. Fucking the swamp, as far as politicians go, don't care. They just want profits. They just want to actually get through with these big fucking contracts because they'll get reelected in the next election. Newsom does not have the ability to do that. And I think it's insulting and egregious that we're being pushed and being told that the way Americans think right now should be enough to win the next election or to go back to normal. We can't go back to normal. We have to go towards something that's completely beyond what these past decade plus of politics have been, dude. It's been fucking almost 12 years of Trump. Like
when you say populism, just an overall populism, like when I think of populism, I think politicians and stuff offering stuff to people.
Sure.
Right?
I do too.
If you have a totally populist a campaign or a totally populist government, like, where do you put the book on, like, I'm just gonna give you everything? Like, obviously you can't do that, right?
You obviously can't, and I'm not saying that's what a candidate should be, but at least I think people want to see a candidate who at least has the balls to say they can do something that an average politician, excuse me, won't, because of their duty to big pharma, of their duty to big insurance, of their duty to contractors. Like, what it would be just refreshing to hear a candidate say, "I'm going to end all like any military contracts to Israel. I'm going to end any military contracts to or government contracts with Palantir." Why the fuck is this not being advertised at a bigger scale? That's why, even though Bernie lost his elections, I think he's won in the long run, because he's established this notion that Americans could and should demand better within the American.
What's it called? The Overton window? He moved the Overton window?
Yeah. I think he's removed. Yeah, he's removed the tinted windows and basically told Americans how you're living isn't the standard. You're not living under a first world country. You're being told you are, and politicians think you should be okay with it. You shouldn't be. And I think Newsom is more of the same. And I think he's going to lose if he runs a Kamala style campaign again. This is my 2 cents.
Then. That was a lot.
Yeah. The Chris and Juan's politic corner, dude.
The politic corner. This is the crossover with Bill Maher.
Bill Maher, yeah.
With real time.
Bill Maher would be hilarious to have on the show, dude.
I'd love to have him on.
He'd be smoking. Have you seen his podcast Club Random, dude?
No.
Apparently, like, every guest has to be okay with him smoking weed.
Really?
And I did Steve-O once, but Steve-O's been sober for such a long time. He's like, "If you're not going to participate, we can't do the podcast." And then Steve was like, "You can't respect."
Dude, Steve was like in every podcast. Yeah, man. I see him everywhere.
For him to not be, yeah, he's like, "You're not gonna respect me, man, just for 5 minutes or for 1 hour. You can't do that." And Bill Maher's like, "I'm sorry," and they didn't do the podcast.
Dude, he's such an arrogant asshole. Dude.
Yeah, but he's so pompous, and
he is.
I think Bill Maher should retire.
Yeah,
he should go back.
He's in his 60s, right? Or am I?
He's living the life.
He's been around forever.
It pisses me off because he's saying how people shouldn't demand better. And it's like, who the fuck are you? You drive a fucking Mercedes Benz and you're fucking prostitutes every other weekend. Like, have you seen Tiana Trump talk about when she?
Nah, I haven't seen that.
By Bill
you see? Oh, I think you showed me. She's going out with the Arsenal guy.
Yeah, I forgot his name.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. He's like, she's changed.
She's changed. That's hilarious.
She's very pretty. I'll say that. She's very, very pretty. Tiana Trump, come on the show.
The only Trump we trust, dude.
Yeah, the only Trump we trust. Is that really her name?
No, I wouldn't. No. I'd be surprised if it was. I guess switching gears, we kind of wanted to talk about our experiences.
Oh yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. I actually got an email today because when I would do job searching.
Yeah, our experiences interviewing and at jobs, by the way.
When I was doing job searching, I would, do you know Glassdoor?
Glassdoor, yeah.
I would sign up for Glassdoor and leave reviews of my previous employers or mom.
Oh, would you leave reviews?
Or see reviews.
That's hilarious.
And I got one this morning from an old restaurant I used to work at, and apparently nothing changed at all.
Really?
Yeah. And it was dog shit, and like they were talking about how, and I felt this way working there too. They felt responsible and catered to the customer's needs, but that the management thought it wasn't enough, and that they still micromanaged them, and to the point that they got fired, and they were really, rightfully so, aggrieved about it. And it's home state, by the way. I don't care.
I was like, is this guy gonna drop the?
Yeah, it's home state, but when I worked there, we still had family meal, and we still had a general, a general good balance as to how the employees should be treated. I have some funny stories from there, but I heard that they removed the family meal completely. Like, you have to pay for your food, and I think that's a really bad model as to how a company should treat
for lunch and stuff. You have to pay for your own food if you want to eat.
Bro, even at In-N-Out, they would pay for your food, and they have a very high standard. And I've worked at In-N-Out of how you should be treated. I've never felt that way with how the managers treated me compared to how it was at Home State. And it's funny because Home State prides itself on being so family oriented and towards.
Do you feel like interviews are a lot different? Obviously, in literal terms, they are, but like, when the way you approach it, like when you interviewed like for a, I don't want to say a better job, but like more of an office job, like versus when you would interview for restaurants. Did you go into it with the same mindset? Like obviously the prep is different because it's different subject matter and whatnot, but
Yes,
did you feel like it was a lot different or?
I would, because I don't know, maybe this would landed me the service industry jobs better. I wouldn't care because I'd be like, I'm not gonna be here long. But when it came to office jobs,
So you felt like you didn't feel nervous or anything. You're
right.
like, fuck it,
I was nervous, but I think the one thing I told myself was I have to be myself with office jobs or with something professional, you know? I don't want them to think I'm all stoic and corporate. I want to be and representative of being this chill, humor friendly individual. And I got some good interviews with law firms when I was trying to be a paralegal with Lemon law firms and stuff, and they were pretty cool. But as far as interviewing me, and we would chop it up during the interviews, but I've never actually landed those jobs. And I would start to think to myself, is that the issue? You know, like, is my approach?
Oh, is my approach the issue? I was about to ask that too, though. Like, I feel like that's a good approach to have, but I'm sure being like oh, I'm being me. Like, some people would be like, oh, we want someone that's right, which makes sense. But like, let's say after, did you have any expectations out of as soon as you graduated like college? Yeah. Like I would go on, like I graduated college, right? Whatever. I started applying, like, oh, I have my degree now. I'd be applying for like manager roles, thinking people would look at me with zero experience. Like my degree was gonna do everything for me.
I would be. I remember my first job. My first job I applied for out of college was like for campaign manager of a local election. I'm like,
bro, you would imagine they would have hired you? Like, what the fuck am I gonna do?
I got this in the bag, dude. I'm like, this is so easy. Like,
dude, the first
like the lickety split.
The first interview that I actually got was like a huge wake up call, because I applied to like for UCLA Health for like their HR department as a data analyst, and I went in, dude. I was like, what the fuck are they gonna ask me? Like, how do I get along with people? This and that. And I went in, dude, and they were asking me like real questions, like technical questions, and I had no fucking idea. And then towards the end, like the interviewer like started helping me along. Bro, she was like, what program?
Did you tell yourself? I'm not getting.
I was like, bro, it's over.
Keep the interview.
I just wanted to turn the computer off and be like, fuck it, like I did what I could.
What did she say? What was she telling you?
The first time she did it, it was like, oh, what kind of programs do you use and stuff. And I was like, oh, well, Excel, and that was basically it. And she was like, no, I mean, like, do you use Python? Do you use R? And I'm like, oh, yeah, I use those. And I was like, yeah, this is over, man. It is what it is.
Funny. I remember the first job I really, really wanted, and I was crushed I didn't get. It was for this company called Benenson Strategy Group, and they basically do market research and analysis for Democratic campaigns. And I wanted to be a market research analyst because I thought it would be a great way of being representative towards the issues that Democrats should focus on, liberals should move forward with, yada, yada, yada. Went out of my way, put a portfolio together, never got interviewed, and I don't even think that company is legit. Like it's in Santa Monica, and I looked up the building. I was like, "This is so fucking nice." But I tried looking into it. And I'm like, "Is this even a real company?" And I'm wondering, like, if
dude, you ever see posts where it's like, and I think they're not real, but like maybe they are, where it's like, work for company X to be like a data analyst or whatever, and then they have all these requirements, and they're like, "Oh, we're paying $22 an hour."
Yeah,
and you're like, this is not real. Like, I don't know. Maybe they have like certain requirements to have X amount of postings or their HR department.
I remember reading some kind of data that was measured where companies by their internal quotas have to put job positions, I think, just to maintain that they have empty roles so they can get some sort of tax break or just even overwork their own employees internally, right? And they never hire. They do the interview process and whatnot, but they don't hire in order to actually maintain how the structure of their company currently is.
Which totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, okay, how do you feel like your last job interview? Like, what do you think went right? And your approach, was it totally different? Like in any?
I was calm.
The ones that you had before.
I think the biggest thing was being calm, and I was telling myself, God willing, I get this job. I'm blessed. If not, I'm fucked. We're not like it is what it is. Like I'm not fucked. It is what it is. I think I was just being honest, and I was still myself, and I was basically presenting how my best my best person. And I think something that also helped me was saying like I'm gonna be honest. I'm not perfect. Like my shortcomings are like I'm a bit impatient. I'm that not necessarily with the people I work with, but with my work. I'm a bit of a stickler with how work should be done. And I thought that was actually going to be detrimental to me, but no, it got me hired. So,
Hired. Nice. Yeah.
And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
I think.
No, keep going.
I think I have for the where I'm working at now. I think I had a pretty similar experience where it's like I went in thinking like it is what it is. If I don't get it, it is what it is. I already have a job. It's not like I'm struggling. Like I want to get a better job, but it is what it is. And I felt like that sense of calmness that you go into is like maybe something that they don't see often, or maybe it's the experience with everyone that like when they finally basically give up is when they have the best shot at getting their job.
I was gonna say, did you ever have those moments with at your previous employment where you were just like head down and be like, I'm gonna kill myself? Like, I need to kill myself in order to.
I worked as a staff. Well, my last job was as a staff accountant, so it was like every month was the same pattern.
Oh fuck!
Every month was the same pattern, and it's like, dude, I'm going to work. I know exactly what I'm gonna do. I know exactly how I'm gonna do it, and this shit is so boring. Like it's easy, which like is cool sometimes because sometimes you want to do other stuff. But
right, it's funny because I would have that mentality when working at a law firm, where sometimes I would get ahead and finish all my applications I needed to process within their deadlines. And I would see everyone else around me working so hard, and I would just be chilling. And you'd get scrutinized for just chilling. And I remember just telling myself, like, is everyone else stupid? Or am I just, like...
I'm just like that.
Yeah, like, I'm just like that. Or is it me who's stupid and everyone else has this work ethic?
Right.
And I'm, like, questioning these things because I tell myself, if everyone else has this work ethic that I don't, they deserve the job I want. And at the same time, I also have this mentality of this job fucking sucks. Why am I even bothering? I don't want to be here. The firm treats me like shit. The employees are kind of assholes. Everyone's fucking each other on down low. Like why should I care? You know. And I would just have that mindset with any type of corporate job before my current employer, and I would just say, this fucking sucks, dude. Like then like now I kind of take it for granted because I'm like sometimes I do my work and I finish ahead of time, and then I'm like fuck, like maybe I should do more because I don't deserve this job. and I just feel so.
But like sometimes I feel like that too, and then when you talk to people, you kind of hear stuff like that too. When you're thinking like, man, are all these jobs like bullshit? Like, and then like you think about the like in the private sector, you think about the logic of using consultants and whatnot, and it's like you just want the responsibility to not be on you. And like, well, basically every job is that. Like, your manager maybe gives you this job so that when his manager tells him, hey, what happened with this, he can blame you if you didn't do it. Like, it's just passing the buck on, I think, and maybe a lot of jobs are bullshit, and they're just exactly that.
That's so true. Actually, I felt like when I worked at the law firm, it was just passing the buck.
Yeah.
It was never the manager's fault. It was always, oh, my assistant was the one who fucked up with that. Oh, my assistant's the one who should be handling that. And then they get in trouble, and then you get in trouble because it's obviously your fault that you you weren't able to meet whatever standard or deadline that was set upon you. And that really kind of shaped my work ethic because I was just always telling myself, you know what? Who gives a fuck? Like, I could kill myself tomorrow, I'll be replaced next week. They're not going to throw a fucking funeral. I could jump off this fucking building and traumatize everyone here, and they'd have to come into work tomorrow. Yeah. Like, it's really frivolous in the grand scheme of things, and I'm just so...
Like, I don't know if
anymore.
I don't know if you can tap into that feeling a lot, but I find it hard to do that.
Which feeling?
Like, getting out of the circle and being like, oh, none of this shit really matters. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
because I'm just going through the day to day. I'm like, oh, I'm thinking of finishing the next task. Like, this is really important right now. But like, sometimes when we go to the gym or if I ever go on a hike, it's like it helps, you know, get. And it sounds like you're able to tap into that a little bit better than I am. But
Maybe
that's interesting. Like that's something. That's something that's pretty admirable that you're able to do that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get it. I wasn't always able to though. I remember when I would work as when I was a teacher, I was specifically like so.
This guy's had every fucking job.
Yeah, I've been a teacher, been a legal assistant, been fucking in and out. My first job ever was at Home Depot, dude. That shit was the worst. I remember everyone was fucking there.
People would steal equipment by putting it in the paint. You told me.
Yeah, people still coming by putting in the paint buckets, dude. And I remember it was your duty to get it. And I was like, why the fuck is this my duty? I'm not gonna stop someone from fucking stealing
a wrench or some shit.
Right? Like, actually, I'm gonna be like, take it, dude. Like, no one was like, I admire the fact that you were able to fool me like that. And I remember that job, everyone there who was a guy took it so seriously.
Really?
They're like, I'm trying to move up in this place. I'm trying to be a manager. I'm trying to be like so and so. And then I look back and I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's because...
Bro, did you... Like, that was your first job, right?
Yeah, that was my first job.
My first job, well, like, real job was at a restaurant in UCLA. And, like, I was pretty cool with the manager, so she'd tell me how much, like, she was making and stuff. And I was like, fuck, the Lord. Or like, I think it was the job postings were up, right? So you could see how much people were making. And this is like maybe like not even 10 years ago for us, right? When we started working. And you're like, fuck, like, and then you see how long it took them to get there. And it was so, at the time I was like, man, that's a lot of money. But now it's like, now you look back and you're like, dude, they like struggled like for so long to become managers at those locations or at those types of jobs. And it's like,
and
they're not even making, and it's a shitload of responsibility to be a manager in those type of places.
And there's something admirable about that.
Yes.
Where I'm like,
but you're like, but I can't stop thinking like it's admirable that you're hustling, but it feels like you're hustling without putting thought into like, if I hustle this hard in somewhere else, I can get so much farther.
That's such a pull yourself up by your bootstraps mentality that I think is actually like in action, you know? Where I think these people have grown up with the ability of you work hard, you do what you need to, you're going to get what you want. Yeah. And I think they feel rewarded in that sense. Yeah. Whereas I feel in our position, maybe, I'm not sure if this applies to you, but I've done the work and I've done whatever I can to excel in certain shit. And you still end up in second or third place, and it's not enough. And I think that's kind of shifting my mentality of being more of a just do the basics, the rest will fall into place. Because it doesn't matter whether you're like the best at what you do. It's not always going to be recognizable as far as how you want to be honored. And especially in the workplaces I've been through, and I think that's really shaped me and kind of just snapped me into this reality of wow, whatever I do doesn't even have any sort of significance into the grander scheme of my career.
And like kind of auxiliary to what you're saying, but I agree. I don't know if this is your experience. I'm sure maybe going to church you saw this. Maybe it's not experience with your mom in particular, but like it is experience with my family too, where it's like in Hispanic communities, it's like put your head down and work. Yes. But it's like, yes, I kind of agree. I do agree with that, but that's not enough. I agree. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's like too much, and it's also not enough at the same time. Right. Because it's like you have to think about what you're working hard at. Like you just can't put your head down and like work hard and expect like shit's just gonna happen for me.
Sometimes I feel like a bitch. Or I would feel like a bitch when I would complain about the jobs I had. Because I know my mom would work her ass off. Yeah, like, exactly. Being a maid, and I'd be like, fuck, like, who am I to complain, you know? But I also think that erases my self-image and my perseverance because I'm like, no, like, this stuff is pretty difficult sometimes. It's an emotional toll. Yeah. And my mom worked hard enough so I wouldn't have to deal with this. And the fact that I still am is a disgrace to both of us, you know?
Yeah. For me, there's one thing that I always remember. That is that exact feeling for me. Where it's like, well, my parents are both immigrants. And when we were younger, like they had this. My dad would work in a truck that he had, and the AC didn't work, right?
Right.
So now when I'm in my car, and I'm like on my way to work or coming back, whatever, and it's hot, I feel guilty turning the AC on.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm like, I know when my dad was younger, or when my dad was like back then. Like, and I'm like, and I feel like I feel guilty for turning the AC on.
I get it, yeah.
And it's because of that exact
Dude,
feeling.
even now, I feel guilty having nice things.
Yeah,
I feel guilty having nice things. I'm like telling myself like I don't deserve this, and I don't feel that way when I gift my mom things or when I go out of my way to do what she can't even afford for herself nowadays. But I feel even guiltier when I have it when I spoil myself, because it's like this shouldn't go to me, you know. Like I have to make ends meet other ways. I have to save. I'm doing whatever. Like it feels so evocative of how of this I don't deserve this culture that's been placed upon me by everyone else and not necessarily my own lineage. And I just like I feel like I should break out of that, but at the same time I don't know if it's virtuous to have that mentality, you know. And
I think in some sense it is.
Yeah, maybe, but it's like it's made me such a stickler, and I think it's bad when it carries over into my relationships. Because sometimes I'm like, should we really do that? Is that really what we want? Yeah, and I'm like, but at the same time, it should even then it should be like, no, like my partner deserves this. You know, my partner is also like they love me enough. They should also receive the fruits of my labor.
Right.
And I shouldn't feel some sort of way doing contributing or making them happy. And I think like I said, but it's become an issue that's been brought up a few times, especially my previous relationship, where I'm like, oh, like that was not nobody's fault, but I still blame myself because that's just the way I was raised, and I don't think.
What do you mean? Like, what do you mean by that? Like that last part.
I think it's nobody's fault that I think the way I do, as far as where I'm second guessing whether I should purchase something or do something a bit lucrative for my partner and I. But and my partner does deserve it, but I would hesitate or sometimes even like deny as far as like whether I should get or do something of that level or of that basically what's it called, like that expenditure. And I would be very hard on myself because I'm like, fuck, like that's not how they deserve to be treated, you know. But as far as me being like hesitant or being very money tight, and at the same time I'm like, okay, like that's not necessarily my fault.
Yeah.
It's like how.
But it's I mean, I don't know if you classify it differently, but like hanging out and stuff, I never got the sense that.
Yeah, I mean, hanging out's different,
you know?
but, like, and I wouldn't go out of my way to like take him to fucking Nobu every week,
Right? Yeah.
But like,
bro, I wouldn't even justify going to Nobu once. You know?
But like they deserve those things, you know. And I'm just like, I think my mentality sometimes would be like, not that they don't deserve it, it's just like, is it worth it, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, it is. Like you have to do these things at least one time in order to actually in order to maintain the fact that you and your partner in a relationship that deserves these things. So I just feel that way now, and like my work ethic has been carried over into this mentality that I shouldn't have these things, but I starting to shift my ways and say like, you know, every once in a while.
Are you ever able to rationalize stuff like this camera and stuff? Photography for me is like a hobby, but and I'm sure a lot of people have this experience. Like I would say I'm kind of stingy too, but I open a lot of windows for myself to like rationalize certain behavior, like fucking this tripod, like all this shit. Like I don't really make money off photography. Like it's really a hobby, but I tell myself like, hey, in the future I can make money off of this. So it becomes like I'm almost tricking myself into thinking it's an investment. And maybe this is like a specific example, but like there's situations where I'm like, I consider myself a semi-stingy person, but I think I give myself like opportunities to rationalize, and then and maybe it's not good. Maybe I shouldn't be thinking that way.
Right. I feel that way about the podcast too sometimes, where I'm like, there's like,
I'm spending this, right?
I'm spending this, and it's like fucking bullshit. But going back to the beginning, like I'm doing what I love. You know?
Yeah.
And hey, I'm doing it with my best brother. You know?
Hey, that's right.
Like that.
Hey, so we need a sponsor ASAP.
Right. All right, man. Once again, happy Valentine's Day. Any plugs, dude?
No plug, same as always,
No
man.
plugs,
Just follow
right?
the podcast.
Follow us at CJ's Super Serious Podcast on Instagram, on YouTube too. It's gonna go live, dude. We need a thumbnail.
I know, that'd be sick, right? Yeah.
If anybody wants to actually do something for free, maybe get recognized in the credits as like our thumbnail
Some video
person.
editing, dude.
Yeah,
Hell
dude. Hats off to you. Do the reels and steal them from us. We won't complain.
Everyone needs their Jamie, dude.
Right. We need our Jamie, dude. If apply now, email us at cjsuperseriouspod@gmail.com. Yeah.
All right.
All right. That's the show.
That's the day.